So for self-consumption, production is being carried. Markets were non-existent and hardly any worthwhile business transactions were conducted. However, with the Industrial Revolution, radical changes occurred in the Western economies and business became central to human activity. Now, production is carried out mostly by corporate enterprises for global markets. Under these circumstances, it is difficult to conceive of a society in which business does not hold an important position. In fact, modern business is only next to the state in importance. The state now ensures stability in the political organization. So every country, they wanted to ensure stability in the political organization, which is so necessary for business activity. Business contributes to economic growth. Every business that contributes to economic growth. And not only economic growth, but it also creates employment. It also generates employment, opportunities, and provides all kinds of goods and services which we need for our consumption. Present day, humans cannot manage their lives at the existing level of economic comforts without business activity. So in this attempt to explain how environment influences business, so there are certain questions we need to think upon and we need to answer. Now, what are those questions? Question number one, what is the meaning of business and how one understands the nature of modern business? So this question is all about meaning of business and how one understands the nature of modern business. So business is okay, but what is modern business? That we need to understand. So this is first question. Second one, how internal environment of business different from its external environment. So every business has two type of environment, internal as well as external. So how internal is different than external environment, that we need to understand. So this is second question. Third question, how can one differentiate between micro and macro environment of business? From this point of view, present day business, which is more relevant? So these are the three questions. Again, I repeat, question number one, what is the meaning of business and nature of modern business? Second question, how internal environment of business different from its external environment? And the third one is how one can distinguish between micro and macro environment of business. So in terms of international business, we need to understand this. And then only we can have economic growth. And recently, you might have heard or you might be seeing we are the host country where G20 conference is going on. And there also we are highlighting the same point that business should be human centric and it should not be just GDP centric. Earlier the concept was different. It was GDP centric, but nowadays human centric. So it is all about the welfare of society, and not just welfare of society, but eternal welfare of society, eternal welfare. That welfare should be forever. Even if you hear this news, G20 right now it is happening in Delhi. Are you about this conference G20? Hello, are you aware of that? G20 conference is going on in India. Can you hear me? Hello,
Yes, sir.
students. Hello, students.
Yes, sir.
So, are you aware of that G20 conference is?
Yes.
So, if you read the points of G20, so these are the only three questions which are answered by this G20 conference. That is human centric. This should be for human development. Uh, So, economic growth is one thing, but in addition to economic growth, there should be welfare of human being, and that too eternal welfare. ज्याला आपण म्हणतो शाश्वत शाश्वत कल्याण. इट इज नॉट जस्ट वेलफेअर, बट इट शुड बी इटर्नल वेलफेअर. फक्त कल्याण नाही, आपल्याला शाश्वत कल्याणाकडे जायचंय. सो इवन what we are reading this theory. Now, if you read the highlights of the G20, you will come to know that India is highlighting that Earth is one. So, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That is the centric idea which India is highlighting, and uh, the countries who are participating in this G20, they are also appreciating about this initiation. And then the second question, which I told you, how internal environment of business different than external environment. So in internal business, who comes in internal business? Who are the parties? Can you share? Who are the stakeholder in internal business? Hello? Who are the parties in internal business? Yes, please. There are two type of environment to every business, internal and external. Now I'm asking you, who comes under internal? Let me start from my side. Employee, who is the internal part of business. Don't you think employee are internal, no? Employee, those who are working in business, they are internal, no? They are internal. Then customer who are buying a product of the business. So for that business, customers are internal. So employee, uh, customer, then investor who are investing in a business. So they are also internal part, internal one. So here I have listed three, that is employee, customer, investor. Can you add any party to the internal? Do you have any point to add in regards to the internal? Who are the internal party or member of business? Only these three? इन्व्हेस्टर, एम्प्लॉई अँड कस्टमर. अजून कोणी आहे का? Just think upon. And this is not a very difficult question. It's a general one. So this is internal environment.
Supplier,
Yes,
supplier,
supplier who are supplying to the business, because they are also internal party of business. Supplier, bankers, even bankers, those who are providing fund in the form of loan. So those all bankers are also internal. Now let's talk about external environment. External environment of business. Now, can you share who are the parties who comes under external?
government,
Yes, government. So government is the external one. Because government is having authority to grant license, giving permissions, and so these are the authorities of government. And what they expect from business? What are their expectation? Tax. Tax is the major thing which government expects from each and every company. Whatever profit they earn, out of that profit, they should pay tax to the government. This is one expectation. Second one is employment opportunities. Because if more and more companies establish in a country, that country generates employment opportunity to the people. And if more and more employment opportunity, society becomes prosper, family becomes prosper, society becomes prosper. So these are the impact. So government, what else? External party,
competitor, competitor,
competitor. Those who are in the same line of business, they are called as a competitor. So competitors are external one. If you are having, if you are managing your business in a good manner, naturally your competitor will also uh, honor your business as a business model, as a benchmark to your business. And with this benchmark, everyone will follow your business ideology. So that kind of status. So external, as rightly said by Ishika, that is competitor. So government, competitor. So this way, the second question can be answered. Third one, how we can distinguish between micro and macro environment of business. So let's know more detail about this competitor as an external party. No company, however large it may be, enjoys monopoly. In the real business world, a company encounters various forms of competition. The most common competition which a company's product now faces is from differentiated product. So for example, in case of AC, air condition market, Hulta's air conditioner, this company Hulta AC that faces competition from other branded. Can you name any other brand of AC who are the competitors of Hulta? Yes. What are the different brands of AC air condition other than Hulta? LG. Do they produce air condition? LG. LG is there. Then Videocon is there. Hitachi, and so on. So these are the different companies who are in producing air condition.
Godrej.
Yeah, Godrej. Yes. So this type of competition is called the brand competition, and maybe found in almost all durable goods in market. Durable goods market. A company sometimes encounters what is characterized the product form competition. Now, for example, this refrigerator, as you have taken the example of Voltas, a refrigerator manufacturing company specialize in producing only frost-free refrigerators, but the competition is likely to face may not remain confined to manufacturer of other frost-free refrigerator. It is just possible that directly cooling refrigerators also turn out to be serious challenges. So this is all about brand competition. So this was about internal and external. Now, how the third question, that how we should differentiate micro and macro. What was that question? How one can distinguish between micro and macro environment of business. So let's know first micro. From the point of view company's business operation, micro environment has great relevance. Usually, the players in micro environment do not affect all the companies in an industry in the same way. Their decision and actions in regards to the individual company often differ in accordance with the size, capability, and strategies of each company. For example, suppliers of inputs are normally more accommodating if the company is large. However, they may not give the same concession to relatively small companies. So likewise, a competitor does not mind starting war, price war if the rival company is small, but he will be reluctant to do so if the rival firm is large and capable of retaliating. Sometimes micro environment of the various firms in an industry is almost the same. In such case, the response of these firms to their macro environment may differ as each firm will attempt to achieve a higher success level. Now, micro, which is and it's a environment. Now, macro environment. Macro environment of a company refers to all these economic and non-economic factors which exercise their influence on the business activity. In general, it determines opportunities that a company may have to promote its business. to promote its business. The role of macro environment from the point of view business may be both positive as well as negative. That implies larger forces in the company's environment do not always provide wider space for business operations. They often put restraints on the business activities. Macro environment of business can be broadly classified into economic environment and non-economic environment. So this macro environment we can classify this way: economic environment and non-economic environment. Economic environment of business, both national and global, so it is of strategic importance. In the national economic environment of a country's economic system, macroeconomic scenario, phase of business cycle, so this comes under economic environment. Whereas in addition to this economic system of a country, within a country, within nation, within a country, determines the parameter of business activity, saving and investment, fiscal, monetary, and balance of payment. So the saving pattern of their customers, of their citizen, how do they save? And saving will happen when, after meeting their day-to-day expenses, if they are leaving some amount, then only there will be saving. Otherwise, suppose whatever they earn, if that earning, if it is being utilized for the consumption, then in that case, then there will be no saving. And this saving of individual, that is diverted to the industry, because industry also require fund. So these funds are pulled by general public in the form of saving. Now in India, the Confederation of Indian Society, that is CII, and the Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries, known as FICCI. FICCI long form is Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries, FICCI, and ASSOCHAM. Have you heard the name of ASSOCHAM? ASSOCHAM? Associate Chamber?
No.
Not heard this? ASSOCHAM? Okay. ASSOCHAM, well, it is also a powerful organization in a business community. And ASSOCHAM long form is Associated Chamber of Commerce and Industry of India, which is the, as I say, powerful organization in business. They exercise considerable influence on the government and thereby attempt to mold economic environment in their favor. So these association of business and industry extract tax concession and subsidies from the government. So ASSOCHAM, which has influence over the government also, so they plead to the government in regards to the tax concession and some subsidy from government. Not only this, but ASSOCHAM also has influenced fiscal, monetary, and trade policies and get economic laws enacted in the favor of business and industry. Otherwise, to whom business will pass on their request to the government. So these are the organization. Through this organization, businesses, they convey their request to the government. So FICCI and ASSOCHAM. So these are the powerful organization in our India, in our country. Through them, businesses, they forward their request in regards to the tax and subsidy. Now this international business or maybe uh, national level economic system, whether it is international or national level, mainly there are three central problems of an economy. What are those three central problems? What are the main problem of economy? There are three problems which every economy has, almost every economy. Anyone knows what are those three problems which is known as central problem of economy? माहिती आहे का? Central problem. Am I audible? Yes, so I'm saying that scarcity, scarcity. Yes, that is also problem where we have limited resources available. Excuse me. And with these limited resources, we want to achieve maximum. Now, please do remember these are the three central problems of an economy. The first one is what to produce. What to produce. Excuse me. This is the first problem of economy. Second problem, how to produce. Once you get
How to produce and whom to produce.
and yes, Ishika,
Whom
what to produce, how to produce.
for whom and for whom to produce.
Yes, yes, yes. Very correct. And to whom to produce, for whom to produce. Once you get the answer of first question, what to produce, then how to produce. Second one, and to whom to produce. So these are central economic problem of an economy. What to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. Now, as against this, the role of business is much less important in a socialist economy because economic planning occupies the central stage under it. Now, in some country at an international level, their characterization is that capitalism. Capitalism. Now, in USA, United States of America, which is leading capitalist economy, production take place in the private and the public sector side by side. So USA is the example where there is a capitalism. But what about India? In India, both private and public sector coexist. So we have both the sectors, private as well as public sector. Now, example is if you observe banks, so there are private banks as well as there are public sector bank. Public sector bank means which are owned by government, like say State Bank of India, Bank of Maharashtra, Bank of India. These are some examples of public sector bank. Private bank, Axis Bank, HDFC. These are example of private bank. Even in insurance sector also, there are public sector insurance company as well as private companies. In life insurance, Life Insurance Corporation of India, this is public sector. And then Bajaj Allianz, ICICI Prudential, these are the private sector. So in India, private and public both coexist. In the private sector, big houses like those of Birla, Reliance, and Tata, MNC multinational companies like Hindustan Liver, Nestle India have such powerful grip over the market that competition is there. So capitalism of today is mixed economic system in which the private as well as public sector coexist side by side. Now, after this capitalism, now there is a socialism. Socialism. Now, what is the socialism? In socialist economy, the responsibility of taking all decisions related to production and economic development lies with the state. So it is with the state only. Now, in order to understand better this mechanism by which socialist system solve the central problem, it is necessary to take account of the following four considerations. In socialist economy, apart from labor or other means of production are owned by the state and not by individual in their private capacity. Second one is production in the socialist economy is guided by the objective of social welfare. Just as under capitalism, in a socialist economy, too, there are markets dealing in commodities. So capitalist, socialism, and in India we have both private as well as public. One second. Huh? I think day before yesterday, we discussed trade policies and trade theory. not trade policy, but trade theory we have discussed. Which are those theory? Did we discuss trade theory? Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Trade theory by Adam Smith and that, na?
Ricardo, Adam Smith,
Yes. H.O.
H.O. Heckler and Olin.
Heckler and Holden, yes.
Heckler and Olin. Yes. So these are the trade theories. Now, what are the trade policies? Trade policies. See, let me tell you, trade policy are different and trade theories are different. Okay. Trade policy and trade theories are different. It is not same. First, understand this. तर हे समजलं का तुम्हाला ट्रेड थिअरी? ट्रेड थिअरी बाय ॲडम स्मिथ, OH, that is Hochler and Olin and Heckler and Ricardo. ज्याच्यात आपण डिस्कस केलं बघा, ॲब्सोल्यूट थिअरी, कंपॅरेटिव्ह ॲडव्हान्टेज थिअरी. आठवतंय का? कंपॅरेटिव्ह ॲडव्हान्टेज, ॲब्सोल्यूट ॲडव्हान्टेज. हॅलो.
Yes, sir.
Now we are discussing trade policy. So trade policy, it is also important factor in economic environment of business. Now this trade policy, basically, if you consider India's trade policy was inward oriented for about 4 or 5 decades, right from 1951. It has inward as well as outward oriented. And because of this openness in trade has created competition to the Indian business. And in order to improve this competition, our government has given authority to the RBI, Reserve Bank of India, to form a trade policy, and that is nothing. One policy which is designed by Reserve Bank of India, and another trade policy which is designed by Government of India. So there are two policies we have in India in regards to the trade policy. One trade policy which is designed by RBI, and the other trade policy which is designed by Government of India. तर रिझर्व्ह बँक ऑफ इंडियाकडनं जी पॉलिसी येते आपल्याकडे, त्या पॉलिसीला म्हणतो आपण मॉनिटरी पॉलिसी. मॉनिटरी, आय हॅव हर्ड दिस नेम, मॉनिटरी पॉलिसी. ऐकलं का हा शब्द कधी?
Yes, sir. Yes.
सो who decide this monetary policy? RBI. Okay. So RBI is the authority. हे वर्षातून दोनदा येते मॉनिटरी पॉलिसी. एक पीक सीझन मध्ये येते आणि दुसरी स्लॅक सीझन मध्ये. सो देर आर टू सीझन, पीक सीझन अँड स्लॅक सीझन. तर ह्या दोन्ही सीझन मध्ये मॉनिटरी पॉलिसी it is declared by Reserve Bank of India, which decide about the inflation rate, then CRR, SLR. These are some rate which decides about the flow of capital. तर मॉनिटरी पॉलिसी RBI कडनं. आणि दुसरी गव्हर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया फिस्कॉल पॉलिसी ठरवते. फिस्कॉल पॉलिसी म्हणजे काय? इट इज द प्रोसेस ऑफ शेपिंग टॅक्सेशन अँड पब्लिक एक्सपेंडिचर in order to swings of the business cycle. So basically it works upon the taxation and public expenditure. So generally this happens at the time of budget, when Government of India declares budget in the month of February. So that time fiscal policy is declared, and this happens only once in a year at the time of budget. Fiscal policy once in a year and monetary policy twice in a year. So these are the two policies in regards to the trade from the examination point of view. जर तुम्हाला विचारलं what are the trade policies we follow in India or name the trade policies, तर Remember these two: monetary policy and fiscal policy. And monetary policy, which is monitored by and implemented by Reserve Bank of India. Fiscal policy, it is by Government of India and generally Finance Minister who present this fiscal policy. So from this unit number 1, this was the last point of this unit number 1, that is trade policy. And earlier point was trade theory. And again I repeat, trade theory. Remember these 3 trade theories. The first theory, which is developed by and presented by Adam Smith. Adam Smith, who has written one of the famous book, that is Wealth of Nation. And with reference to Wealth of Nation, he had developed this theory, trade policy. And Adam Smith, he highlights absolute advantage. Whereas Ricardo, who is highlighting comparative advantage, and that too with lower opportunity cost. So that was Ricardo. And then third one is Ohlin and Heckler. So these are the 3 trade theory, and trade policies are 2: monetary policy and what is the second one? Monetary and second one? Fiscal policy. Yes, fiscal policy. So with this, I end this unit number 1. Next time we will start unit number 2. And in case if you have any doubt or query, same doubt or query, you may ask me right now. Again, we have another 2-3 minutes with us. And if you are not able to recollect those points, same points you may raise in the coming session also. So again, we will refresh our unit number 1 points, and then we will start unit number 2.
Okay, sir. Can we revise now or we will revise in next lecture, the first unit?
As you say. Now, if you have
Sir,
any
it's fine.
particular point, so that point we can revise right now. And if you are not having,
Sir, no, I want only the head points from you.
okay, head points, then what I will
Huh.
do, I will just scroll the PPT again, once again. I will scroll the
Okay.
PPT so that point wise it will be recaptured. It will be recaptured.
Yes, yes.
Okay then. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Bye. Good night.
Bye.
शुभरात्री.